Tung's story also got him a fairy wife. In the past, it was called Pia. Pia's parents passed away without knowing when, and no one knew who Pia's uncles, aunts, uncles, or siblings were. People only see Pia going into the forest every day to pick firewood to sell to rich families in the surrounding area. At night, he returned to sleep in a tiny hut roofed with 2 bamboo baskets under a banyan tree in the village. He worked hard to stay up late and get up early, but he always suffered from hunger. He has 3 times the health of a normal person. Every day he can find 2 loads of firewood to take to the market, but he only has enough money to buy 2 meals of rice a day. He only had 1 set of clothes. Every day he washed his clothes, he had to lie down in a bed of straw to wait for them to dry. Seeing him hungry and ragged, the boys and girls in the village, especially the children of rich families, shunned him. However, he was not sad. He greeted everyone politely and considered everyone as his relative. Seeing someone having difficulty or someone asking for help, he is ready to come immediately. He helped his uncles build houses, helped his uncles work in the fields, worked for his aunts in clearing fields, and helped his younger siblings carry the burden. Wherever there were many people gathered together to talk and laugh, he would come close, hide in the crowd to listen to the story and join in the fun. One day, the villagers held a spring festival. The boys and girls from the villages around the area wore new clothes that still smelled of indigo. They went to the festival in large numbers. Pia also went to the festival. On the festival day, each pair of girls, every pair of boyfriends, walking side by side. They sing Luan sing si, sing ha tent together. They talked and exchanged feelings. They took out the beautifully carved silver bracelets on their wrists, tied an embroidered scarf on the end, and then tossed them back and forth to each other. The boys side tossing, the girls side to welcome. The girls' side tosses, the boys' side to welcome. They try to toss the bracelet right in front of the person receiving it. They try to catch 10/10, 100%. The bracelet with the embroidered scarf tied at the end flew back and forth, sometimes in this boy's hand, sometimes in that girl's hand, looking very beautiful. Each couple, each pair of talented boys and girls continued to passionately toss and pick up like that all day long. Seeing everyone having fun, Pia liked it very much. I also want to throw hoops but don't have hoops. Seeing other people having couples, he also wanted to find a couple, but no girl was willing to marry him. Whenever he came near, everyone turned away. Whenever he interfered in the game, people cleverly chased him out. Pia wanted to throw the bracelets so much that his arms and legs itched. He slowly walked around the beach, longing to watch the silver bracelets flying back and forth in the air. Suddenly he remembered the shuttlecock hanging in the firewood pile that he had just picked in the forest yesterday. He immediately ran home to get the shuttlecock and tossed it alone. His shuttlecock has both fresh strings and leaves on the strings. He tossed the shuttlecock 9 clouds high. His shuttlecock runs very beautifully and goes very smoothly. The string also carries a few bright green leaves that spread out like a very pretty and elegant green silk tassel. The fruit leads. The leaves straight forward. The leaves followed the fruit flying like a flock of swallows chasing a pearl. Seeing Pia toss the fruit very high, some people praised him for tossing it well, others mocked him. Oh, brothers and sisters, looks like Pia's shuttlecock wants to go to heaven to play with fairies. Regardless of whether people praise or criticize, Pia doesn't pay attention and just throws it to her heart's content. The more you toss, the more flexible your hands will be and the higher the shuttlecock will rise. His shuttlecock penetrated the 9 clouds, reached the sky and fell into the hands of a fairy. The fairy caught his shuttlecock and tossed it back to him. Then the fruit kept rushing back and forth on the path from earth to heaven and from heaven to earth. The fruit moved more and more steadily, rhythmically and quickly. After a while, people were even more surprised to see a fairy gliding down to earth. The fairy stood opposite, side by side with Pia, gently tossing and catching the shuttlecock. Everyone stared at the beauty and at Pia. "Oh, brothers and sisters! Behold, the fairy is tossing the shuttlecock with Pia." True. An extremely beautiful fairy, wearing 5-color clothes, was passionately flirting with Pia. Pia is so happy. The higher he tossed the shuttlecock, the more confident the fairy was in catching it. The two sides passionately tossed and caught each other so beautifully, making the boyfriends and girlfriends in the party stop and stare endlessly. At first, there was only a couple who gathered around to look at Pia and the fairy. Then 2 pairs, 3 pairs, 4 pairs. Finally everyone collected all the silver bracelets, standing dumbfounded looking at Pia's shuttlecock gracefully flying back and forth, sometimes in the fairy's hand, sometimes in the hand of Pia. The fairy and Pia, still graceful and enthusiastic, happily welcomed each other. The two of them were so busy that they even forgot about time. The sun had already set over the high mountains in the distance, but the fairy still hadn't thought about returning. That evening, the fairy did not return to heaven. She happily and innocently followed Pia back to the tent thatched with 2 thatched sticks. Married Pia. That same evening, the fairy transformed Pia's tiny hut into a magnificent castle. The house has enough beds, tables, utensils, and clean food containers. Pia's clothes are as beautiful and new as the fairy's clothes. The next morning, the boys and girls were extremely surprised to see Pia's life changed. They stared blankly at Pia's castle. They invited each other into Pia's house to see the face of the fairy, the new bride of the village, and to look at the silver and gold utensils. Thinking that Pia had luck thanks to the shuttlecock, they invited each other to go into the forest to find the shuttlecock. But searching for a whole day, for many days, everyone came back empty-handed. They discussed making fake shuttlecocks made of sewn fabric stuffed with sand, with strings and tassels, and then went out to celebrate with each other. They can't throw it as high as Pia, their shuttlecock cannot penetrate the 9 clouds to reach the sky. They told each other to make a circle of 9 fake-colored paper instead of 9 layers of rattan and place it on a tall bamboo pole in the middle of the gathering. They competed to toss very high, trying to get the shuttlecock to pass through that fake cloud 9 ring, and trying to catch it very well to pray for luck like Pia. Since then, every year, on the spring festival, the boys and girls of the village invite each other to make fruits and flowers to scatter and greet each other. They also secretly wished to use the fruit to find some luck. The handsome boys and beautiful girls were singing and responding very affectionately. "Men, this one still has silk and flowers, giving it back and forth between me and you. Woman, this one is really a fairy fruit sowing, go and re-sow the curse of 100 years. Nom, and this is still silk, still on loan. Sow and re-sow like a fairy chessboard." Man, and this is the fragrance of love giving back and forth the curse of both of us. According to the story of Nong Ti Ki in Hong Viet Commune, Wa Un, Sao Bang. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.